This is a chart showing the 4 players in the NBA who average at least a 35% usage rate. Among these 4 guys, you might notice that one particular player stands out, Joel Embiid. He's not only recording the highest usage rate of his entire career, but he's also doing it while scoring at the highest efficiency of his career. If you compare his true shooting percentage to his contemporaries who have similar usage rates, the difference is staggering. Despite Embiid having by far the best individual year of his life, there's not much to show for it, with a team that's in desperate need of a change. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's talk about Joel Embiid and this unfortunate situation he's in with the Sixers. But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to The Ridge for sponsoring this video. Here I have the Ridge wallet and the Ridge key case. The wallet holds up to 12 cards with an extra strap for cash. As you can see, it's much slimmer than your average bifold wallet, like mine. It comes with a lifetime warranty too, and it's available in over 30 colors and styles. This one is stone-washed titanium. The key case is burnt titanium, very light but durable, and fits up to 6 keys. It holds your keys in place so you won't hear rattling noises ever again. Get the best offer with my link, ridge.com/AndyHoops. And right now, you can save up to 40% through December 22nd. That's ridge.com/AndyHoops. Coming into the NBA, the expectations of Joel Embiid were incredibly high. But by sitting out his first 2 seasons, we didn't know what to expect after that. But Embiid has become everything we thought he'd be, and even more. However, despite all the individual success, all his accolades, the All-Stars, the All-NBAs, All-Defense, the biggest knock on him has always been team success. In the last 5 seasons, he's blossomed into one of the best players in the NBA. In terms of numbers, he's putting up stats that are comparable to those of all-time greats. Even though he doesn't have the hardware or championships, from a pure talent perspective, he's launched himself into the same conversation with the greatest centers of all time. At least statistically he is. Currently, out of all players in the NBA who take at least 20 shots a game, only Steph Curry has a higher true shooting percentage. Embiid is currently first in the NBA in scoring, though that might change by the end of the season, considering it's a tight race. Still, 33 points a game is absolutely bonkers. That's the most out of any center since, well, since himself last year, when he won the scoring title. But before that, it was Shaq in the early 2000s. In an era that saw most big men getting phased out in favor of faster perimeter play, Embiid's sheer dominance is great to see. Him, along with Jokic and Giannis, they're changing the games by themselves. In the last few years, we've seen a resurgence of big men. The game has evolved, but these guys have adapted. So anyway, the biggest criticism of Embiid's game has always been his decision-making. It's not his free throw shooting. He's a great free throw shooter. It's not his defense, as obviously he's a fantastic defender. It's not his post-up game or his skills. The dude has the complete package. The decision-making, though, that's been a sore spot, along with his less than stellar conditioning, but he's been fixing that. There were times, especially in the playoffs, where Embiid does not handle double teams well. There are times when games drag on and he just gets exhausted. When the defense focuses on him, sometimes he just doesn't know what to do. At times, the game moves too quickly and he just doesn't know what the correct play to make is, or he can't keep up. This season, though, that's been quickly changing. Embiid is better at sensing the defense. When he's about to get trapped, he makes sure he passes it out quicker than usual. Hence why his 4.8 assists per game is a career high. In terms of condition, he's in the best shape of his life. He stated he's lost 15 to 20 pounds in each offseason for the past 2 or 3 years. Although his turnovers now are also a career high, but that can be attributed to his increased workload. Some other numbers that stand out include his mid-range shots. In the past, Joel has always been a great mid-range shooter, but this season it's gotten even more polished. He's shooting 53% on his long twos, which is defined as the space between 16 feet and the three-point line. That's approximately 10% higher than his career average of 43%. Embiid's also hitting a career-high 77% of his shots at the basket. In the past, this was actually a weaker area of his game, believe it or not, especially compared to his peers Jokic and Giannis, who were both in the high 70s or low 80s in efficiency at the rim. But now, Embiid is on par with both of them in this area. Despite his rise to prominence, he has yet to reach the conference finals. Of course, not all the blame goes to him, but he does carry a lot of it. For example, in the 2019 semifinals against the Raptors, they went to Game 7. In that Game 7, Embiid flubbed. He scored 21 points on just 6 for 18 shooting. Fast forward to 2021, the Sixers went to another Game 7 in the semis, but this time it was against the Hawks, a team that was far inferior to them. At least they were supposed to be. The number 1 seed Sixers were heavily favored to win, and in that Game 7, Embiid scored 31 points but also recorded a whopping 8 turnovers. Many of them were crucial at the end of the game. To be fair, he did have a busted knee, and the rest of the Sixers did not rise up to the occasion, which is another huge problem. Then, recently, in the 2022 playoffs, Game 6 against the Heat on the Sixers' home court with them being down 3-2, Embiid shot a putrid 7 for 24 from the field, as the Sixers got bounced in the second round again, and their team got booed out of the arena. All of these series were winnable, but he just could not live up to that moment. While he's been phenomenal in the regular season, the biggest test has yet to come. Can his play right now transition into the playoffs? Sadly, this looks like another lost year for the Sixers. While Embiid is having the best season of his life, they're still stuck being a middle-of-the-pack playoff team. Injuries have hit this team super hard. Tyrese Maxey was playing like a superstar before he went down with a foot fracture. James Harden missed some games as well with a foot injury of his own, and he's been super inconsistent since coming to Philly. Overall, this is not a team that's truly capable of contending. You know, the fingers have been pointing to a lot of people. Tobias Harris, for his ludicrous contract that he's not living up to, James Harden falling off compared to his days in Houston, the role players not playing well. But the guy who everyone's pointing their fingers to is Doc Rivers. Now, I'm sure most Philly fans want him fired at this point, but the real question is, why does he keep getting hired? Pretty much every time he's gotten fired from his previous teams, he immediately gets hired again, right away. Matt Barnes, who used to play for him in LA, had this to say about Doc. Quote, "Doc is a great motivational, give you energy type coach. One thing that sticks with me is when he said, be a star in your role. Doc is great at these sound bites that will get you going. But it seems like every situation he's been in, a few years in, there starts to be a similar narrative. Guys are starting to tune him out. Guys aren't listening. There seems to be this similar narrative. Once Doc gets somewhere, that first few years it looks good. Rah, 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 then shortly after that, it always seems to turn out to be the same situation. So I'll just leave it at that." What Barnes said kinda matches what we all thought of Doc. He's a great guy to give players motivation and encouragement. But his game plans, his rotations, the players he gives minutes to, his X's and O's, the small details and making adjustments on the fly, all of that has been lacking for his entire coaching career. Just imagine all the talent he's had to work with, and yet, what are the results? He's won one championship, and his entire reputation is now based on that. There's a reason he's blown 3 different 3-1 leads in the playoffs. No other coach in history has blown multiple 3-1 leads. It also doesn't help that Doc also plays favorites. If he doesn't like somebody, he won't give them any minutes, even if they're good. For Embiid, he also echoed Barnes' sentiment. At the beginning, Doc was a great help in encouraging him to improve. Heck, he even lost close to 50 pounds. His most recent seasons are the best of his career. But perhaps it's time for a change. Anyway, that's all, folks. The Sixers are in a rough spot, and they don't have the ability to just blow it up and retool around Embiid. I mean, who's gonna take Tobias Harris or James Harden with their massive contracts? They've bottlenecked themselves into staying with the same core, but this team, the way it's currently constructed, they're not capable of contending. They've been stuck in the same spot for a while, and it'll remain this way. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the Sixers. What do you want to see them do? Let me know in the comments, and as always, I'll see you next time.